$26 billion. Industries employing lakhs of Indians will suddenly lose market share in the US. Sir, the Honorable Finance Minister is gone, but I would like to remind her of a quote from a film. ख्वाब हो तुम, ख्वाब हो तुम या कोई हकीकत, कौन हो तुम बतलाओ? Are you just a dream, or are you in any kind of reality? Are you a dream or a reality? 10 years after this government came to power, sir, Achhe Din, because of this government's policies, has been revealed as nothing but a spin doctor's dream. Achhe Din is a fake. Achhe Din is a jumla. Achhe Din is a fraud. The reality is, the hakikat is, there is no Achhe Din.
Please use parliamentary words only. Please use parliamentary words, Sagarika.
I would like to say one more point. Sir, sometimes we members of parliament make some mistakes. Some mistakes creep into what we say. But there is one man who never makes mistakes. The Prime Minister, the Honorable Prime Minister, sir. The failed policy of demonetization. The Prime Minister said, if this policy is wrong, please give me any kind of punishment you want. What is more revealing of this failed policy of demonetization than the piles of cash allegedly found and burned in the home of a jurist? Allegedly piles of cash found and burnt in the home of a jurist. Sir, is the Prime Minister ready to face the punishment of the people? Is the Prime Minister ready to face the punishment? Because these piles of cash are a stark example that the policy of demonetization has resoundingly failed. This government is a failed government. This government is a Jumla government. This government is a fake government. And it is because of this that every slogan of this government is revealed as fake and as a fraud on the people of India. Thank you, sir.
All unparliamentary words will be deleted, Sagarika ji. And I request you to use parliamentary words in your speeches. Thank you. Shri A. Muhammad Abdullah.
Mike. Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chairman, sir.
Let him speak.
Sir.
Please.
Sir,
all the members get up. Please sit down. Please sit down. Mr. Abdullah, please speak. Please speak. Mr. Abdullah.
Make the House order, sir.
House is in order, you speak.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chairman, sir. I rise to speak on the finance bill with the statement by our party DMK founder leader and veteran chief minister Peraringer Anna. கூட்டாட்சி முறையை ஒட்டையாட்சி முறையாக்கும் முயற்சிக்கு கிளம்பி உள்ள எதிர்ப்பின் ஈட்டி முனைதான் நாங்கள். Means we are the spreader of resistance against the attempt to turn the federal system into a unitary rule. Sir, right from the two-language policy to the demand for fair delimitation, our Honorable Chief Minister through M.K. Stalin has continuously shown his union government about the principles of good Dravidian model governance. The Tamil Nadu has always stood as a beacon of social justice, federal rights, and inclusive development, providing that progressive policies lead to real growth and empowerment. However, this union government refuses to learn anything even from its mistake in the past. Instead of adopting successful governance models, it continues to impose flawed policies, suppress state rights, and push its regressive agenda. Whether it is deliberate erosion of federalism, the failure to ensure fair representation, or the continuous neglect of states like Tamil Nadu, this government has shown nothing but arrogance and indifference to democratic values. Sir, the union government has shown no regard for the welfare of people of the nation in the face of ongoing authoritarian initiative such as the one nation, one election and one nation, one language policies, thereby destroying the beautiful principle of unity in diversity, the bedrock on which this nation has been built. This government is built on fake promises and deception. The people of India trusted it to bring economic growth, job creation, and financial stability. Instead, they have been met with unemployment, financial mismanagement, and policies that burden the common people while favoring their corporate paymasters who is funding them through electoral bonds. The Prime Minister's assurance of creating 2 crore jobs annually remain unfulfilled. Instead, we are witnessing the escalation of India's unemployment rate to 8.30% and the unemployment rate among the youth to 15%. The Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, a lifeline for rural employment, is in crisis due to inadequate budget allocation and delayed wage payment. The allocation for MGNREGA, that is Manrega, in budget 2025-26 is only 60,000 crore, significantly lower than the actual demand, forcing many rural workers into financial distress. Delayed wage payment are widespread, with reports showing that over 60% of wage payment for the last quarter of 2024 remain pending. The MSME sector, which is pivotal to our economic fabric, has been sidelined. MSME accounts for approximately 30% of India's GDP and provide employment to over 12 crore people nationwide. The lack of targeted financial assistance has left many MSMEs vulnerable, hindering their growth and sustainability. Sir, I want to address very important issue, sir. The BJP-led union government's sovereign gold bond scheme has turned into a major financial failure now. Launched in 2015 with the promises to reduce gold import and provide a safe investment, it has done neither. People still prefer buying physical gold, so the country continues to spend heavily on import. The real problem is that gold prices have nearly tripled since the scheme started, putting huge pressure on public funds. Money that should have gone to roads, school and small business is now being used to cover these payouts. This is yet another poorly planned policy by the Modi government, adding to India's financial troubles. The government has stopped issuing new bonds, providing the scheme has failed. But instead of fixing the damage, it remains sidelined. The people of India trusted this government with their money, but what they got in return is a declining economy, increasing fiscal burden, and sinking household savings. The failure of the sovereign gold bond scheme is not just about gold. It is about how this government has systematically weakened the financial stability of the nation and its people. The very instrument that was meant to reduce fiscal pressure has ended up doing the exact opposite. Like demonetization and the fault GST rollout, this was another poorly planned move hurting the common people. This government financial mismanagement has severely impacted. Severely it is impacted. Sir, Sir, the public sector banks are in trouble with many failing facts. The 2023 RBI report says that in 2021, over 7,000 frauds totaled rupees 1.3 lakh crores. Big defaulters are abroad and the government has done nothing. In 10 years, bank wrote off rupees 15 lakh crore. From 2016 to 2022, they gave rupees 35 lakhs crore in loans, but recovered only rupees 19 lakhs crore. Just 18,870 people, mostly from Mumbai, Delhi and Gujarat, got these huge loans. The government named 10,000 borrowers. Who are the rest? Only 10,000 borrowers. Who are the rest? Did they fund the BJP through electoral bonds while common people continue to struggle? Sir, the India's export fell 10.9% in February, hitting a 20-month low. Key industries have been severely impacted with rising input costs, weak global demand, and inadequate policy support worsening the crisis. Small exporters face the worst impact. Instead of proactive measures, the government has relied on superficial announcements, allowing India's trade deficit to widen and threatening jobs in export-driven industries. Madam, the union government has systematically weakened fiscal federalism by starving opposition-ruled states of their rightful fund, using financial control as a political weapon. They are using financial control as their political weapon, like the states like Tamil Nadu and other opposition ruling states. Kerala, especially Kerala, and all opposition ruling states. Tamil Nadu, like several other states, has faced delayed and reduction in tax devolution, GST compensation, and centrally sponsored schemes allocations, forcing the state to bear a disproportionate financial burdens. The center's unfair revenue sharing policies and conditional fund disbursements undermine state autonomy. This deliberate squeezing of funds not only weakens state economies, but also disrupt governance, providing the union government prioritize political control over equitable federalism. The Tamil Nadu is one of the largest contributors to India's economy, excelling in manufacturing, exports, and services, making it a key driver of national economic growth. However, despite its substantial contribution to the nation's revenue, Tamil Nadu's share in central tax devolutions has been consistently declining. Historically, the state received 7.831% of central taxes under 9th Finance Commission. Kindly note that Tamil Nadu received 7.831% of central taxes under the 9th Finance Commission, but this is now dropped to just 4.079% under the 15th Finance Commission. Half of the amount has been cut. This reduction has placed a significant financial burden on the state government, limiting its ability to fund crucial infrastructure projects, implement welfare schemes, and respond effectively to disasters. While the union government has set the all-over tax devolution to the state at 21% in practice, the actual disbursement has often been lower. This disparately affects the state's ability to undertake timely development initiatives despite its strong financial management and economic performance. The BJP-led union government is not only cheating Tamil Nadu, but also betraying Uttar Pradesh also, where people voted for them with the hope of better governance. This betrayal of northern states proves that their education funding strategy is not about development, but about political manipulations. This is why the people of UP rejected you in 2024, especially in Ayodhya, and will throw you out in 2029, I hope. While it showers Uttar Pradesh and other BJP-ruled states with massive funds, the reality on the ground is a disaster. Yes. From 2015 to 2025, these 10 years, Uttar Pradesh alone has received over rupees 8 lakh crore in education fund. Rupees 8 lakh within 10 years. Rupees 8 lakh crore education fund Uttar Pradesh alone got. Yet its literacy rate remains at 67.68% only, and its gross enrollment ratio in higher education stands at just 28.1%. The BJP-led government conveniently divert public attention with a hate speech instead of fixing its broken system. Bulldozer, yes. The union government acts as it is a developing knob, but in reality, it is keeping them uneducated, dependent, and easy to manipulate for elections. Yeah. Meanwhile, Tamil Nadu, one of the India's top performing states in education with an 82% literacy rate and a GER of 51.4%, has been denied rupees 2,152 crore for covering essential expenses such as teacher salary, school infrastructure, and right to education reimbursements under Samagra Shiksha. I'm sorry, Samagra Shiksha. Sorry, it is not coming to me rightly. Yeah, Samaskara Shiksha, because it refuses to implement the flawed national education policy 2022. The message is, you learn Tamil, then I will learn Hindi. You learn Tamil first. The message is clear. The message is clear. If a state prioritizes real education over BJP's political agenda, it will be punished. The message is clear. If a state prioritizes real education over BJP's political agenda, it will be punished. It undermines Tamil Nadu's state autonomy and disregarding the state's well-established education policies. The NEPP 2020's three-language formula faces strong resistance in Tamil Nadu, which uploads a two-language policy of Tamil and English. Rooted in opposition to Hindi imposition, our state policy has yielded successful education outcomes tailored to the unique need of our state. Forcing change, disturb an effective system. India needs schools, not slogan. India needs schools, not slogans. This union government's investment in healthcare is also bitter. Despite pouring in massive funds, UP remain one of the worst performing states in healthcare, providing that the money is either misused, looted, or inefficiently managed. While Tamil Nadu, with a fraction of the funding, delivers world-class healthcare, UP continues to struggle, exposing the BJP corruption and misplaced priorities. In 2024-25, Uttar Pradesh was allotted rupees 50,550 crore, almost 50,000 crore under NHM and Ayushman Bharat, whereas Tamil Nadu, a state that has continuously outperformed UP in healthcare, receives only 3,100 crore. UP got 50,550 crore, and a successive, progressive Tamil Nadu healthcare got only rupees 3,100 crores, nearly 3,000 in NHM funding. 116 of what UP gets. Yeah, that is also not released. As he said, that is also not released. Despite this financial advantage, UP's healthcare indicator remains abysmal with an infant mortality rate of 38%, 100 birth, and maternal mortality rate of 167 per 1 lakh births, while Tamil Nadu has an IMR of just 10 per 1,000 births and an IMR below 50 per 1 lakh births, making it one of the best performing state in healthcare. The real question is, where is all this money going? The real question is, where is all this money going? Not to hospitals, not to medicines, not to doctors. Instead, it vanishes into...
माननीय सदस्य, कृपया अपने भाषण में असंसदीय शब्दों का प्रयोग न करें, ये रिकॉर्ड में नहीं जाएंगे। माननीय श्री राघव चड्ढा जी, आपका समय समाप्त हुआ। माननीय सदस्य, आपका समय समाप्त हुआ। आप अपने भाषण में कृपया असंसदीय शब्दों का प्रयोग न करें, ये रिकॉर्ड में नहीं जाएगा। आपका समय समाप्त हुआ। माननीय सदस्य, आपका समय समाप्त हुआ। श्री राघव चड्ढा जी, आपका माइक ऑन है। राघव चड्ढा जी, माननीय श्री राघव चड्ढा जी, मैम एक बार आपका माइक ऑन है। माननीय श्री राघव चड्ढा जी, आपका समय समाप्त हुआ। माननीय सदस्य, आपका समय समाप्त हुआ।
15 सेकेंड दीदी।
आधा सेकेंड, ठीक है। माननीय सदस्य, आधा सेकेंड, आधा मिनट। माननीय सदस्य, आधा मिनट।
National education policy, useless medical infrastructure, a youth population without means to survive, resisting prices of essential commodities, a shortfall in the value of Indian rupee against US dollar. This union government is continuously failing. Yes, there is no bigger disaster for the people of India than the BJP government ruling the country. They actually don't rule, they ruin. With this I conclude. Thank you, ma'am.
माननीय श्री राघव चड्ढा जी, 10 मिनट।
शुक्रिया मैडम। टैक्स टू लिव, टैक्स टू डाई एंड टैक्स एवरीथिंग इन बिटवीन। इस जीवन में दो ही चीजें निश्चित हैं। देयर आर ओनली टू थिंग्स दैट आर सर्टन, डेथ यानी कि मृत्यु, और दूसरा है टैक्स। इस जहां से उस जहां तक जहां भी जाओगे, हर मोड़ पर हर जगह मुझे ही पाओगे, यानी कि टैक्स। मैडम, सपना था विश्व गुरु बनने का, बन गए हम टैक्स गुरु। और इतना टैक्स जो भारत की आबादी सरकार के खजाने में डालती है, उसके बदले सरकार जनता को देती क्या है, ये बहुत बड़ा सवाल है। कौन सी ऐसी हाई क्वालिटी सर्विस है जो फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट जनता को दी जाती है? क्या हमें क्वालिटी हेल्थ केयर फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट मिलता है? नहीं मिलता। क्या हमें वर्ल्ड क्लास एजुकेशन मिलती है? नहीं मिलती। क्या हमें फ्री वर्ल्ड क्लास ट्रांसपोर्टेशन मिलता है? नहीं मिलता। क्या हाई क्वालिटी रोड्स मिलती हैं? अगर अच्छी हैं तो टोल टैक्स भरना पड़ता है। क्या 24 घंटे 7 दिन बिजली आती है? नहीं आती। तो इतना सारा जो टैक्स सरकार इकट्ठा करती है, उसका करती क्या है? इसीलिए मैं कहना चाहता हूं दैट वी इन इंडिया पे टैक्सेस लाइक इन डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज to get services like in sub-Saharan countries. Madam, from the moment a child is born to the very moment his family mourns his death, the government is there at every step, not to help you, but to tax you. और आइए एक रोमांचक यात्रा पे चलते हैं। माननीय वित्त मंत्री जी हर बार मेरे सवालों का जवाब देते हुए मुझ पर तंज कसती हैं और कहती हैं कि शायद ये चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट नहीं है, इनकी डिग्री असली नहीं है, तमाम तरीके की बातें मेरे बारे में कहती हैं, निजी हमले करती हैं। मैं उनका बहुत सम्मान करता हूं, मेरे मन में उनके प्रति बहुत आदर है, ओहदे में, हैसियत में, उम्र में, अनुभव में बहुत बड़ी है मुझसे। लेकिन आज मैं इस सीए की डिग्री को किनारे करके सरल भाषा में आम आदमी की तरह इस देश के आम आदमी का दर्द आपके सामने रखना चाहता हूं कि कैसे हमारे जन्म होने से लेकर हमारे मरने तक टैक्स पे टैक्स सरकार हमसे वसूलती है। मैं आपके सामने जीवन के 8 चरण, 8 स्टेजेस ऑफ लाइफ रखना चाहता हूं। फर्स्ट स्टेज ऑफ लाइफ, जब इंसान पैदा होता है, दैट इज द बर्थ स्टेज। बच्चे के पैदा होने से पहले, उसकी आंखें खुलने से पहले जो उसको वैक्सीन लगती है उस पर 5% जीएसटी लगता है। जिस अस्पताल में बच्चा पैदा होता है उस हॉस्पिटल के कमरे के चार्जेस पर अगर 5,000 रुपए से ज्यादा का कमरा हो तो 5% जीएसटी लगता है। बेबी केयर के आइटम्स पे 5% जीएसटी लगता है। और अगर उसके माता पिता बच्चे के पैदा होने पर मिठाई बांटे तो मिठाई पर 5% और चॉकलेट पर 18%, 28% जीएसटी लगता है। दूसरा चरण जीवन का इन्फेंसी और चाइल्डहुड यानी कि बचपन में बेबी फूड जो खरीदा जाता है उस पर 12 से 18% जीएसटी, डाइपर जो खरीदा जाता है उस पर 12% जीएसटी, बेबी स्ट्रोलर पे 5 से 12% जीएसटी, और जो खिलौने बच्चे को दिए जाते हैं उन खिलौनों पर भी 12% जीएसटी लिया जाता है। जब मुंडन होता है बच्चे का, पहला हेयर कट जिसे कहते हैं, उस हेयर कट की सर्विसेज पर भी 18% जीएसटी, और पहली बर्थडे पार्टी पर जो फोटोग्राफी होती है, फोटो खिंचवाई जाती है, उस फोटोग्राफी सर्विसेज पर भी 18% जीएसटी। यहां तक कि नामकरण की बर्थडे पार्टी जो की जाती है उस पर भी केटरिंग सर्विसेज से लेकर खान पर 18% जीएसटी सरकार वसूलती है। अब बच्चा स्कूल जाना शुरू करता है तो स्कूल जाने पर यूनिफॉर्म से लेकर जूतों, स्कूल बैग, लंच बॉक्स सब पर जीएसटी लगता है। 12% जीएसटी नोटबुक पर लगता है, 18% जीएसटी स्टेशनरी आइटम पर लगता है। और उसके बाद अगर कोई एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर एक्टिविटी बच्चे को करनी हो, कोई म्यूजिक क्लास करनी हो या फिर कोई स्पोर्ट्स कोचिंग की क्लास वो ले ले, उस पर भी 18% जीएसटी देना पड़ता है। प्राइवेट ट्यूशन ले तो उस पर भी जीएसटी, और पहली साइकिल जो बच्चा खरीदता है उस पर भी 12% जीएसटी देना पड़ता है। तीसरी अवस्था जीवन की, टीनेज ईयर्स, ये वो काल होता है जो सबसे मस्त मौला टाइम होता है जीवन का, बेहतरीन बेफिक्री का। इसमें बच्चा, यंग जवान लड़का लड़की अपना पहला स्मार्टफोन खरीदते हैं, उस स्मार्टफोन पर जीएसटी लगता है। अगर महंगा हो, विदेशी हो तो इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी भी लगती है। फिर वो अपना फोन रिचार्ज कराता है, उस पर जीएसटी लगते हैं। ब्रॉडबैंड इंटरनेट का कनेक्शन लेता है, उस पर जीएसटी लगता है। नेटफ्लिक्स, स्पॉटिफाई या वीडियो गेम की सब्सक्रिप्शन लेता है, उस पर भी जीएसटी देना पड़ता है। और अगर अपने दोस्तों के साथ पिक्चर देखने बाहर जाए तो पिक्चर की टिकट पर जीएसटी, एंटरटेनमेंट टैक्स और पॉपकॉर्न पर भी जीएसटी अब लगने लग गया है। तो तमाम तरीके के सॉल्टेड कैरेमल पॉपकॉर्न पर भी सरकार आपसे जीएसटी वसूलती है। इस बीच जब आप 18 साल के होते हैं और पहली बाइक या पहला स्कूटर खरीदते हैं, उस बाइक और स्कूटर पर आपसे जीएसटी लिया जाता है, व्हीकल इंश्योरेंस पर जीएसटी लिया जाता है, और उसके बाद रजिस्ट्रेशन टैक्स और रोड टैक्स के नाम पर भी पैसा लिया जाता है। जीवन की चौथी अवस्था, फोर्थ स्टेज ऑफ लाइफ, हायर एजुकेशन की। इस हायर एजुकेशन की अवस्था में आप यदि प्राइवेट कॉलेज में पढ़ रहे हैं तो प्राइवेट कॉलेज की ट्यूशन फी पर जीएसटी लगता है। हॉस्टल में रह रहे हैं या पीजी का रेंट भर रहे हैं तो उस पर जीएसटी लगता है। स्टूडेंट लोन की प्रोसेसिंग फी पर जीएसटी लगता है। किताबों से लेकर लैपटॉप तक जीएसटी लगता है। और अगर माता पिता संपन्न हैं और बच्चे को विदेश भेजते हैं पढ़ने के लिए तो फॉरेन रेमिटेंस पर टैक्स कलेक्टेड एट सोर्स सरकार लागू करती है। अब आते हैं 5वीं अवस्था पे, जब वो अपना करियर शुरू करता है। ये वो एज है जिसे मैं गोल्डन एज ऑफ डायरेक्ट टैक्सेस कहूंगा। अब ये डायरेक्ट टैक्स के जंजाल में आदमी फंस जाता है इस उम्र में, जब उसकी पहली नौकरी लगती है। तो नौकरी में आमदनी अनुसार उसके स्लैब रेट के हिसाब से उस पर टीडीएस पहले काटा जाता है, मानो जेब काटी जा रही हो, और फिर इनकम टैक्स वसूला जाता है। जब पहली बार उसको पगार मिलती है, वेतन मिलता है, वो माता पिता या दोस्तों को बाहर खाने पे ले जाता है, पिक्चर दिखाने ले जाता है, उस खाने के बिल पर भी सरकार जीएसटी वसूलती है। और जैसे जैसे उसकी सैलरी बढ़ती है वैसे वैसे स्लैब अनुसार उससे इनकम टैक्स वसूला जाता है। इसके बाद आज वर्क फ्रॉम होम का कल्चर चल रहा है, तो वर्क फ्रॉम होम में इंटरनेट बिल्स हो, ब्रीफकेस हो, लैपटॉप हो, इन सारी चीजों की खरीद पर सरकार जीएसटी लेती है। और अगर आप ये पैसा निवेश करें, इस निवेश करने पर आप कोई भी फाइनेंशियल इंस्ट्रूमेंट खरीदे तो सिक्योरिटी ट्रांजैक्शन टैक्स के नाम पर, मैडम मेरा समय जा रहा है, कोई फाइनेंशियल इंस्ट्रूमेंट खरीदे तो फाइनेंशियल इंस्ट्रूमेंट की खरीद पर सिक्योरिटी ट्रांजैक्शन टैक्स, उसकी ब्रोकरेज पर जीएसटी और फाइनेंशियल एडवाइजरी पर जीएसटी। और जब आप ये फाइनेंशियल इंस्ट्रूमेंट बेचते हैं तो उसके मुनाफे पर सरकार आपसे कैपिटल गेन टैक्स वसूलती है। यहां तक कि हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस और लाइफ इंश्योरेंस प्रीमियम्स पर भी सरकार आपसे जीएसटी लेती है। इसी सरकार के मंत्री माननीय गडकरी जी भी सरकार से यही गुजारिश कर रहे हैं कि इंश्योरेंस प्रीमियम पे कम से कम जीएसटी हटा दिया जाए। इसके बाद इंसान अपने जीवन की छठी अवस्था में आता है, यानी कि मिडिल एज। इसमें उसकी आमदनी भी पीक पर होती है और उसका टैक्सेशन भी पीक पर होता है। अप्रेजल होता है, प्रमोशन होता है, बोनस मिलता है और हाई टैक्स स्लैब के चलते वो अपनी कमाई का एक अधिकांश हिस्सा इनकम टैक्स में सरकार को जमा कराता है। इस दौर में इंसान गाड़ी खरीदता है, घर बनाता है। जब गाड़ी खरीदता है तो जीएसटी देता है, रोड टैक्स भरता है, व्हीकल इंश्योरेंस पर जीएसटी भरता है, और जब गाड़ी लेकर शोरूम से निकलता है तो पेट्रोल डीजल पर वैट, सेस और एक्साइज ड्यूटी के नाम पर पैसा भरता है। जब सड़क पर गाड़ी चलाता है तो टोल टैक्स भरता है। फिर वो अपना घर भी खरीदता है, जमीन खरीदता है। जब जमीन खरीदता है तो स्टैंप ड्यूटी फीस सरकार को देता है। जब कंस्ट्रक्शन मटेरियल खरीदता है घर बनाने के लिए तो कंस्ट्रक्शन मटेरियल पे, चाहे वो सीमेंट हो, मार्बल हो, स्टील हो, उस पर जीएसटी देता है। उसके बाद जब कंस्ट्रक्शन सर्विसेज लेता है किसी बिल्डर से, ठेकेदार से, कॉन्ट्रैक्टर से, तो उस कंस्ट्रक्शन सेवाओं पर भी जीएसटी सरकार आपसे वसूलती है। और जब घर बन जाए तो एनुअल प्रॉपर्टी टैक्स और हाउस टैक्स के नाम पे आपसे पैसा लिया जाता है। और जब आपको पैसे की आवश्यकता पड़े और आप ये घर बेच दें तो कैपिटल गेन्स पर भी सरकार आपसे उस मुनाफे पे टैक्स वसूलती है। और इस बीच शादी तो रह ही गई, फिर इंसान शादी करता है, इस बीच तो बैंक्वेट हॉल बुक करता है, उस बैंक्वेट हॉल की बुकिंग पे टैक्स भरता है। शामियाना, खाना, केटरिंग सर्विसेज लेता है, उस पर जीएसटी भरता है। ज्वेलरी खरीदता है, उस पर जीएसटी भरता है। कपड़ा, शेरवानी सिलवाता है, कुर्ता पजामा, सूट पैंट, उस पर जीएसटी भरता है। यहां तक कि वेडिंग इनविटेशन से लेकर, ब्राइडल मेकअप से लेकर, हनीमून के ट्रैवल तक हर चीज पर सरकार आपसे जीएसटी वसूलती है। 7वीं अवस्था सरकार जीवन की वो है रिटायरमेंट। इस फेज में इंसान चाहता है आरामदायक जीवन जिया जाए। जो जीवन में कमाया उस कमाई के सहारे उसकी इंटरेस्ट पर, पेंशन पर जिया जाए। लेकिन इस अवस्था में भी सरकार पेंशन और इंटरेस्ट इनकम पे आपसे टैक्स लेती है। बूढ़ा हो जाता है, दवाई इलाज की जरूरत पड़ती है तो हेल्थ केयर बिल पर, दवाइयों पर आपसे जीएसटी लिया जाता है। लाइफ इंश्योरेंस और हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस प्रीमियम पर तो जीएसटी लेती है। और इस दौर में वो अपनी वसीयत लिखता है, फैमिली विल। उस फैमिली विल पर जो लीगल फीस देता है, उस लीगल फीस पर भी उसे जीएसटी देना पड़ता है और स्टैंप ड्यूटी देनी पड़ती है। और 8वीं जीवन की अवस्था, यानी कि जीवन की समाप्ति, जब उसका स्वर्गवास हो जाता है, उसके जीवन का अंत हो जाता है, यहां भी सरकारें उसका साथ नहीं छोड़ती। यहां पर भी सरकारें उस पर टैक्स लगाती हैं। जब कोई इंसान मरता है तो उसके अंतिम संस्कार में देसी घी, चंदन, वुड, नारियल, इत्तर जैसा सामान इस्तेमाल होता है, उस पर भी जीएसटी लगता है। और जब उसके मरने के उपरांत अखबार में ऑबिचरी की इश्तेहार छपाया जाता है, उस पब्लिकेशन ऑफ ऑबिचरी न्यूज़पेपर पर भी 5% सरकार जीएसटी लेती है। और मरने के बाद जब प्रॉपर्टी उसके बच्चों को या परिवार वालों को दी जाती है, उस म्यूटेशन पर भी सरकार आपसे ड्यूटी सेस लेती है। यह है लाइफ साइकिल ऑफ टैक्सेशन मॉडल। लेकिन मैडम, सबसे जरूरी बात यह है कि इतना टैक्स देने के बाद सरकारें हमें देती क्या है। मैं जानता हूं कि टैक्स सरकार के लिए जरूरी है, इस सरकार के लिए नहीं, जितनी सरकारें इस देश में रही सबने टैक्स लगाकर जनता से पैसा लिया। टैक्सेस वास्तव में जरूरी हैं, लेकिन सवाल यह है कि क्या ये टैक्सेस हमारी इकोनॉमी को बढ़ा रहे हैं या हमारी इकोनॉमी को खा रहे हैं। क्या इससे हमारी जिंदगी बेहतर हो रही है या हमारी जिंदगी बदतर हो रही है। इतने टैक्स लगाने की वजह से आज हमारी आमदनी घट रही है, इस वजह से खपत गिर रही है, कंजम्पशन गिर रही है, डिमांड नहीं बढ़ रही है और प्रोडक्शन गिर रही है। इस वजह से पूरा इकोनॉमिक साइकिल, जो हमारा इकोनॉमी का चक्का है, वो धीमा हो गया है। मैडम, इस देश में, बस समाप्त कर रहा हूं, इस देश में मेरी पार्टी के टाइम से आप ले लीजिएगा, मेरी पार्टी के टाइम से ले लीजिएगा। मैडम, इस देश में 80 करोड़ जनता 5 किलो फ्री राशन के सहारे जी रही है। आपको जान के अचंभा होगा, इस 80 करोड़ जनता से भी ये सारा जीएसटी लिया जाता है, दिन प्रतिदिन लिया जाता है, जो आज मैंने पढ़ के सुनाया। सिर्फ अमीर नहीं, गरीब से गरीब आदमी भी जीएसटी देता है। और अंत में मैं बस इतना ही कहना चाहूंगा कि क्योंकि इतना टैक्स लगा कर सरकारें जनता का खून चूसती हैं, उस वजह से आज एफएमसीजी की सेल्स घट रही हैं, एफएमसीजी के स्टॉक गिर रहे हैं, कंजम्पशन डाउन हो रही है, नई गाड़ियों की सेल श्रिंक कर रही है। तमाम तरीके की जितनी भी न्यू परचेजेस होती हैं उसमें मंदी देखी जा रही है। सरकार को जीएसटी कम करना चाहिए, कम करेंगे तो जनता की जेब में पैसा आएगा तो मांग बढ़ेगी, खपत बढ़ेगी और इकोनॉमी का चक्का चलेगा।
आपका समय समाप्त।
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया।
माननीय श्री एम वेंकट सुब्बा रेड्डी जी, आपका समय 9 मिनट।
थैंक यू।
5 मिनट आपका समय, 5 मिनट।
सर, थैंक यू मैम। Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak on the appropriation and finance bills moved by the Honorable Finance Minister. Sir, we have got National Statistics Office statistics on 1st March, which indicated Q3 GDP at 6.2, way behind 9.5 registered in Q3 of 23-24, and RBI's anticipation of 6.8, ma'am. Compared to 5.6 in Q2, this is going to impact the overall GDP in 24-25, ma'am. Ma'am, regarding tax reforms, very good move. The Finance Bill 2025 proposes significant changes to tax rates and slabs under Section 115 BAC, ma'am, aimed at incentivizing taxpayers to adopt a new tax regime. Revised tax slabs. I welcome the revised tax slabs introduced in the Finance Bill 2025 as a progressive step towards reducing the tax burden on our citizens. By making income up to 12 lakh income tax free, you are not only providing relief to the middle class but also incentivizing economic growth, ma'am. By reducing tax burdens, especially for lower and middle income groups, the government increases disposable income. This can lead to a higher consumer spending, which might boost economic activity but could also contribute to inflation if demand outpaces supply. Hence, it is essential to monitor inflation closely along with necessary supply side reforms. Ma'am, regarding income tax cases, there are lakhs of income tax cases pending before the courts and they need to be resolved as early as possible. Ma'am. One such case is that one Mr. P. Srinivas, who ran a racket through bogus subcontracts for invoicing and bogus billing. He was the personal secretary to present CM of Andhra Pradesh and together have avoided more than 2,000 crore from tax authorities. Ma'am, Honorable Finance Minister has patiently listened when TDP MPs in the other house spoke at length on truncated liquor scam in AP, which is fabricated and unfounded, ma'am. Here, with your permission, I would like to know from the Government of India regarding the IT notice given by Central Circle 2-4 in Hyderabad to the present CM of Andhra Pradesh, ma'am. During churches, one Mr. Manoj Vasudev disposed before the IT officials how cash was generated by siphoning off from infrastructure contracts for EWS housing projects etc. and handed over as funds to APCM through his PS, one Mr. Sai Srinivas, who was later flew to the US and returned only after TDP came to power, ma'am. I asked the Andhra Finance Minister, since IT comes under river, what action so far your government has taken, ma'am? Ma'am, regarding Polavaram project, we already mentioned many times in this August House. Polavaram project, a national project, ma'am, whose foundation stone was laid by visionary leadership Dr. Y.S. Rajshekar Reddy Garu. It was designed to irrigate 7.5 lakh acres and stabilize 23.5 hectares of drought-prone land, ma'am. However, the proposed reduction in dam height from 4.572 to 41.15 meters, which looks like 10% decrease in actual results in a 45% loss in storage capacity, ma'am, bringing it down from 194 TMC capacity to 115 TMC capacity, madam. This drastic reduction significantly undermines the project's intended impact and needs of Andhra Pradesh, ma'am. The funding shortfall is another pressing issue, ma'am. The estimated project cost has been pegged at rupees 30,043.6 crores, ma'am. Yet the union budget for 25-26 allocates only 5,936 crore, ma'am, which is inadequate. The Technical Advisory Ministry of Jal Shakti had accepted revised cost estimates of Polavaram irrigation project amounting to 55,000 crores, 548 crore in 2017 and 18 price level on February 11, 2019, ma'am. Why was the total cost dropped from 55,000 crores to 30,000 crores is something that needs to be answered, ma'am. Ma'am, another important issue, tax exemptions, project and exemptions for projects under the Andhra Pradesh Reorganization Act, ma'am. So, despite multiple appeals, the union government has not granted special category status, citing concerns for setting a precedent for other states like Odisha and Bihar. Not only union government, but also TDP, present government is also silent on it, ma'am, in spite of being crucial coalition partners in the NDA government, ma'am. Given the government's refusal to grant special category status, at very least our YSR Congress party demands all the projects under the AP Organization Act should be made tax exemption, ma'am. This would lower cost construction costs of it, ma'am. and accelerate project completion and help AP recovery economically, ma'am. The future of Vizag Steel Plant, ma'am. Ma'am, you are saying that you have given 11,440 crores to Visakhapatnam Steel Plant for its revival. But in the budget, we have given only 3,295 crores out of 11,440 crores, ma'am. What Vizag Steel Plant would do is this. Secondly, whether this amount also include salaries, PFs of employees which are pending for a long time, ma'am. I request the Honorable Finance Minister to explain this and also enlighten us if there is any consideration regarding allocation of captive iron ore mines to reduce input cost and activate the financial condition of Visakhapatnam Steel Plant, ma'am. I would like to once again remind the August House on the necessary steps to save our Visakhapatnam Steel Plant, ma'am. To secure Visakhapatnam Steel Plant future, the government should allocate captive iron ore mines to reduce input costs, ma'am. Merge RNL's sales with a sale to enhance market competitiveness. Convert RNL's existing debt into equity, ma'am. Some due to time constraints, I am only raising these issues. It's a request to the Honorable Finance Minister to look into them seriously and do the needful in the state of Andhra Pradesh, ma'am. I also request to take necessary action on case filed by the IT and also skill camp in which present same is involved, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Dr. Sasmit Patraji, 10 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Vice Chairperson, ma'am. I rise on behalf of our leader, Shri Naveen Patnaik ji and the Biju Janata Dal, to scrutinize two of the most consequential pieces of legislation in our fiscal calendar, the Finance Bill 2025 and the Appropriation Number 3 Bill 2025. These are not mere financial documents, they are blueprints that define the economic, social and developmental trajectory of our nation. They shape governance, determine the contours of our federal structure, and most importantly, impact the aspirations of our people and our states. As we debate the Finance Bill and the Appropriation Bill, I rise to bring forth the genuine, long-pending and deeply justified demands of my state, Odisha, which has been consistently overlooked despite their significance to the state's economic, social and infrastructural growth. First and foremost, I demand that Odisha be granted special category status. For decades, Odisha has suffered from frequent natural calamities, cyclones, floods and droughts, crippling economic progress and placing an unbearable burden on our limited resources. Despite demonstrating fiscal prudence and maintaining a revenue surplus, Odisha has been denied its rightful recognition as a special category state. This status would ensure higher central assistance, tax concessions, and greater financial flexibility to address the unique developmental challenges that Odisha faces. The people of Odisha demand that this unfulfilled promise be met with immediate action. Further, rising prices and inflation have disproportionately burdened the common man. The prices of essential commodities, food, fuel, and daily necessities have skyrocketed, pushing lakhs of families into economic distress. The government must take urgent steps to curb inflation through fiscal intervention, including GST rationalization on essential goods and stronger price stabilization mechanisms. The crisis of high unemployment and rising joblessness further accentuates the economic strain. Ma'am, Honorable, the coal royalty and the green tax reforms are another expressing concern. Odisha contributes significantly to the nation's coal production, yet districts like Sundargarh, Angul, and others receive minimal revenue in return. The center must consider to increase coal royalty rates and ensure a green tax is imposed on mining companies to compensate for environmental degradation and provide funds for local area development. The current cess and royalty structures must be revised in Odisha's favor, ensuring that the wealth extracted from Odisha contributes to its own progress. These have been long-standing demands of our leader, Shri Naveen Patnaik ji, when he was the Chief Minister and even now as the President of the Biju Janata Dal. The state's infrastructure, particularly in road and rail connectivity, requires urgent attention. Several national highway and coastal highway projects remain incomplete or underfunded, severely affecting trade, tourism, and connectivity. The center must allocate sufficient funds for the completion of all pending national highway projects and fast-track the coastal highway, which is crucial for Odisha's maritime progress. The glaring healthcare disparity in Odisha is evident in the lack of AIIMS facilities beyond Bhubaneswar. AIIMS hospitals must be immediately established in Sambalpur, Koraput, and Balasore to cater to underserved regions. The need for tertiary healthcare in these areas is immense, and budgetary allocations must reflect this necessity. The upliftment of Odisha's tribal communities must be prioritized. The GST imposed on Kendu leaf, a primary source of livelihood for tribal families, must be immediately withdrawn to ensure their economic security. Railway connectivity in Odisha remains subpar, below the state's immense contribution to railway revenues. The centre must allocate sufficient funds for railway line expansion, modernization in Odisha to cater to increasing passenger and freight traffic. Banking, mobile connectivity, and digital connectivity, especially in rural and tribal areas, continues to be a major problem. The digital divide must be addressed with urgent allocations for broadband expansion, mobile connectivity, etc. Honorable Vice Chairperson, ma'am. Now I come to the national perspective. I come to the federal aspect of the finance bill and the appropriation bill. My simple question is, where is the promise of fiscal devolution? The Finance Bill 2025 must be scrutinized through the lens of equity. The devolution formula remains skewed against progressive states that have successfully controlled population growth and enhanced their tax collections. Instead of incentivizing fiscal discipline, this approach penalizes high-performing states. The principle of one nation, one tax must not translate into one nation, unequal growth. Consider the allocation of central funds for flagship schemes. States are required to contribute a significant portion of their funds for centrally sponsored schemes, yet have very little say in policy formulation. The union government decides the framework, the guidelines and priorities, often disregarding the specific needs of individual states. The GST regime was envisioned as a grand bargain between the center and the states, but bargain has increasingly tilted in favor of the center. Cess and surcharges, which are not part of the divisible pool, have been disproportionately increased, denying states their rightful share of revenue. Is the center treating states as equal partners in India's journey, or merely as administrative units? The people of this country do not merely want allocation numbers. They want to see real change on the ground. They want a budget that rewards fiscal responsibility among states, yet one that should not penalize them. A taxation system that empowers states, not one that erodes their autonomy. A cooperative federalism model where states are true partners, not mere recipients of dictated policies. I have a few actionable recommendations for strengthening the fiscal federalism. 1. Reduce cesses and surcharges. Bring all revenue collections under the divisible pool so that states receive their rightful share. 2. Revisit the Finance Commission criteria. Presently, the Finance Commission is going through the process. Ensure that progressive states are not penalized for better governance and lower population growth. 3. Strengthen direct transfers to states by reducing bureaucratic interference in fund allocation and allow states more discretion over central funds. 4. Enhance state autonomy in centrally sponsored schemes by allowing states greater flexibility in designing and implementing centrally funded programs. 5. Increase disaster relief funds for states. Ensure timely and adequate disbursement of NDRF funds, especially for disaster-prone states like Odisha. And 6. Implement a transparent fiscal monitoring system. Ensure real-time monitoring on fund flows to state to prevent delays and bottlenecks. I've got another 2 minutes and I come towards my conclusion. A nation as vast and diverse as India cannot be governed through a one-size-fits-all economic model. Federalism is not just a constitutional principle, this is the bedrock of our governance, the guarantee of our unity in diversity, and the true test of our democracy. Yet year after year, our financial architecture remains increasingly centralized, with states left to struggle for their rightful dues, for fiscal autonomy, and for the resources they need to serve the people. The Finance Bill and Appropriation Bill are not mere legislative formalities. They define the financial sovereignty of our states, the extent of their agency, and the depth of our cooperative federalism. Today, the stark reality is that states generate the bulk of India's economic activity, yet they remain dependent on the union for their rightful share of revenues. Whether it is the shrinking devolution of taxes, the discretionary nature of grants, or the increasing burden of centrally sponsored schemes with rigid conditions, the balance of fiscal power tilts disproportionately towards the center. This is neither sustainable nor just. If India is to realize its economic potential, its states must be financially empowered, not weakened. The budget must not be seen as an account of expenditures. It should be seen as a test of our commitment to genuine fiscal federalism. Let it not be said that the government centralizes power but decentralizes responsibility. Let it not be written in history that we spoke for cooperative federalism but did not get it. Instead, let this House send a resounding message that India's progress depends on empowering its states. The spirit of federalism is non-negotiable, and the economic justice begins with fiscal justice. With these words, I urge the government to ensure fair devolution, to uphold the rights of the states, and to truly honor the federal spirit of our constitution. Because only when our states are financially strong, states like Odisha, which has been contributing so much to the central exchequer, when such states are taken care of, given their rightful dues, only then our nation will be truly strong. I thank you, ma'am.
Shri Sukhendu Sekhar Rai ji, 9 minutes.
Thank you, madam. While deliberating on the discussion, my first point would be that I was alarmed to see the Indus Value Annual Report 2025 released by Bloom Ventures, which has highlighted alarming situation prevailing in our financial sector. First of all, it says, India remains the world's fastest growing major economy, now ranked number 4 in market cap at $4.5 trillion. Yet, on a per capita level, India ranks 149th, continuing to highlight the economic paradox India lives in. That is the most alarming and crucial issue, because the economic inequality has reached an all-time high. 90% of the Indians don't have the kind of incomes to be able to spend anything on discretionary goods. The report says. It also says that behind India's low 3.2% unemployment hides a deeper story. Only 22% have regular salaries, with just 9% holding formal contracts. The majority, 58%, are self-employed, a third of which are unpaid family workers. Our demographic dividend faces a formalization challenge, unlike Russia and China. So the vast army of unemployed youth in our country has posed a serious threat to not only to economic stability, but the social order or disorder. My next point would be that we have experienced over the years that corporates are getting concessions one after another for the benefit of our country. But unfortunately, what we have seen, after the corporate tax was reduced from 30% to 22%, for which the public exchequer had to suffer 1 lakh crore of revenue loss in 2020-21 alone, even though the private investment is declining fast, as it decreased from 21% in 2022-23 to 13% in 23-24. It further dropped by 1.4% in the December quarter of 24-25. While public investments by the central government and the state governments grew by 11.8% and 34.6% respectively, then why corporates should be given such concessions in a routine manner? Let the present rate of 22% of corporate tax be enhanced to 30%. to keep balance in revenue generation between the governments, both at the center and the state, and the corporates. Now the income tax disparity, as it appears again from Indus Valley report of the Bloom Venture. India is deepening rather than widening, it says. While return filers grew to 75 million, actual taxpayers fell to 28 million, just 2% of population versus 10% in China, 43% in the US. In our country, only 2% pay the taxes. Those few taxpayers now shoulder a 3 times higher burden than a decade ago, showing concentration, not expansion of economic power. This is another cause of concern for our economic and social tension. My time is limited, so I will not go much. I will not say much on this because my predecessor has already spoken. The Union government, the Honorable Finance Minister, disclosed in the Lok Sabha that the government has written off bad loans, non-performing assets, worth a staggering rupees 16.3 lakh crore worth of over the past decade. 16.35 lakh crore. The data revealed that the bulk of these write-offs pertain to large industries and services, which alone accounted for about 9.26 lakh crore of the total NPA written off during this period. Now the government says, no. Although we have written off, the recovery process is going on through Debt Recovery Tribunal, Company Law Tribunal, etc. Now, while the government clarified, yes. Now the Honorable Finance Minister also pointed out that Reserve Bank does not maintain a company-wise list of written off loans, and the disclosure of borrower-specific information is restricted under Section 45E of the RBI Act 1934. So it was an act passed during colonial rule. What prevents the government from repealing Section 45E of the RBI Act? Government has repealed so many colonial acts, archaic acts, maybe more than 1,000 or 2,000, I don't remember. But I think that this section should be repealed because to create a transparency in all dealings, so that because public money is involved. We have seen in which way the fraudsters are eating off the public money particularly of the nationalized banks, not to speak of the other scheduled banks. Now, what is happening in the recovery proceedings, particularly after the introduction of insolvency and bankruptcy code in 2016? Addressing a Rozgar Mela in June 2020, Honorable Prime Minister stated that 99% of deposits of the public in banks have become safe. He added that the wealth of those who looted banks will be attacked. This is another report. Now it appears that according to this report, according to a report by credit rating agency CareEdge, the overall recovery rate has fallen in the past few years. The cumulative recovery rate has been on a downtrend, decreasing from 43% in Q1 of financial year 20 to 32.9% in Q4 financial year 2022 and 32% in Q1 financial year 24. The recovery rates present a different picture if the 12 initial big ticket accounts announced by the RBI in 2026, that time 43E was not there, so disclosed as if. So now then for the cases ending in resolution, the recovery rate on an average falls from 31.9% to 24.4%. Haircuts in CIRP under IBC is so high that it goes from 36 to 91 haircut, 91%. And to name a few, as disclosed by the RBI in 2016, that time also that section of RBI was there, even though I am referring almost I am at the end. Some companies, DHFL, Videocon Industry, Siva Industry, JSW, etc., and the rate of this haircut is from 36% to 91%. And the banks have, particularly the public sector banks, they have lost huge amount of money for such haircuts. My submission would be that to the Honorable Finance Minister to revisit this insolvency and bankruptcy code, and possibly time has come that it should be replaced with some other robust mechanism to stop all this loot which is going on, sometimes in the name of legal authority, legal institution, sometimes otherwise. Thank you, madam.
माननीय श्री एडी सिंह जी 7 मिनट.
India is facing the challenge of falling into a middle income trap, which refers to the stagnation that many countries experience when trying to transition from middle income to high income status. According to the World Bank 2024 report, India's economic growth is slow significantly, and at the current pace, it may take up to 75 years for the country to reach just one quarter of the per capita income of US. Several structural and external factors make this transition difficult for India. Middle income trap means top 20% live in luxury, below 80% live in poverty, malnutrition, poor education, high crime, etc. At present, India is having a per capita income of 2,500 US. America's per capita is 81,600 USD. To become a high income country, we need 14,000 USD. To overcome these challenges, India needs to shift from traditional investment-focused policy towards fostering innovation. The World Bank highlights the importance of the 3I approach, combining investment, infusion of global technologies, and innovation to enable sustainable economic growth. India must focus on research and development, promote startups, and encourage tech-driven industry. The task ahead is complex given global uncertainty and domestic economic hurdles. However, with policy shift towards high-value sectors and enhanced innovation, India has the potential to accelerate its progress beyond the middle income threshold. एक चीज मुझे समझ में नहीं आती है कि बिना सेंसस के आंकड़े के नहीं रहने के बावजूद भी अजम्पशन पर सारी पॉलिसी बन रही है. और अगर सेंसस टाइम से होता तो हमें पता चलता कि हमारी पोजीशन हेल्थ सेक्टर में क्या है. माननीय हेल्थ मिनिस्टर बोलते हैं कि वी हैव अ वेरी रोबस्ट हेल्थ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, व्हिच आई डू नॉट एग्री, एंड आई एम श्योर मोस्ट ऑफ माय कलीग्स who have interaction with the health sector will agree with the same. And सेंसस में हमें पता चल जाता कि कितने लोगों की मृत्यु हुई है, हेल्थ का सेक्टर, हेल्थ में क्या त्रुटियां हैं, और डेटा मिलता और एजुकेशन का भी मिलता. अब हम ये जानना चाहते हैं कि हम स्वस्थ भारत या पढ़ा लिखा भारत के लिए क्या करना चाह रहे हैं. बिल्कुल नहीं. Many of the South Asian countries got independence around the same time when India got independence. However, the Southeast Asian country invested a lot of money in health and education of the masses, whereas in India, not much expenditure was incurred on education and health. In education, the expenditure never exceeded 3.8% of the GDP, whereas some Southeast Asian countries spending 10% of the GDP on education. In the health sector, we never crossed the expenditure 1.3 of GDP. We should have actually spent 3%. तो आज के दिन ना भारत स्वस्थ है, ना भारत पढ़ा लिखा है. एक तरफ हम बोलते हैं कि we have the largest demographic dividend, but we don't even have semi-skilled workers also. Inclusive growth की तो हम सोचते ही नहीं है. The growth model should take everybody along it. There should not be any disparity. However, in India, disparity is rising. There are two sectors. One is the organized sector, and the other is the unorganized sector, which employs 6% and 94% of the workforce, respectively. There is nobody to take care of the 94% of workforce. The government, public sector, as well as the industry, they are all focusing on the organized sector and which contributes 6% of the workforce. Unless and until we uplift this 94% workforce on manufacturing and demands are not going to rise. और मुझे लगता है कि जो इकोनॉमिक पॉलिसीज बनती है वो आइदर बॉम्बे क्लब इन्फ्लुएंस करता है and who make this policy? Major industries, Bombay Group, IS Babus, and friendly influencer in the media. They determine the economy policy as per the as per. No, this is the truth. This is the truth. Yes. The economy policy is not to benefit you and me. It is to benefit the Bombay Club. Yes. It's very simple. And let me tell you, it was the same during UPA time. It is same in their time. I'm not making that we were very UPA time was very good and this time is. Listen, how does it matter? The fact is the fact.
He was in UPA.
Unlike the West, which has now all but turned into its back on globalization, India stands to benefit from welcoming both trade and investment flows. The high GDP growth that the country witnessed during the mid-2000s was facilitated by higher exports and FDI. The government would do well to move forward on this. We have to review our economic relations with China by facilitating investment by Chinese firms with domestic partners. On the GST, the 55th GST Council had now recommended a retrospective tax amendment to nullify a recent Supreme Court judgment and would have resulted in granting input tax credit to warehouses and infrastructure projects. The proposed retrospective amendment is from July 1, 2017. What is retrograde is that the message being sent to the business world. We will first deny you relief, and if you still fight up for several years and up to the Supreme Court and succeed, we will simply reduce the judgment to a nullity by retrospective amendment. If we win in court, fine. If we lose, we will still win by retrospective amendment. The GST department may succeed recovering a few additional crores by GST by the amendment, but the collateral damage to India's reputation as an investment destination is staggering. Apart from disrespecting your own Supreme Court, the message conveyed to is the absence of rule of law. More than 70 countries in the world having GST have only 2 taxation slabs. We are having 5 slabs. High GST is imposed on items of daily use by common man. Besides, there are incidents of fake entities who have fraudulently withdrawing crores of rupees. GST is being paid by people who earn daily wages as well as.
कृपया समाप्त करें.
अच्छा, ये अभी सरकार ने इनकम टैक्स में बहुत रिलीफ दिया, बट कॉमन मैन को रिलीफ देने के लिए आपको जीएसटी काफी कम करना पड़ेगा. यहाँ तो स्लैब इतना ज्यादा है कि basically a very small section has got the benefit of tax. Majority, whether you are a billionaire or a worker, pays the same GST when they buy anything. So GST has to be rationalized, and for that I will urge the Honorable Finance Minister to have a deeper look in this matter. Thank you.
माननीय डॉक्टर जॉन ब्रिटास 7 मिनट.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Ma'am, I will put this preamble in inverted comma. Longs for criticism and also believe criticism is the soul of the democracy. Because you know who said it? None other than the Prime Minister to the podcaster Lex Friedman. But nowadays, they never criticize it. So it's the responsibility of the opposition to make it very clear what's actually happening in this country. My friend A.D. Singh was saying that the financial policy of this country is being made by the Bombay Club. I don't know whether it is Bombay Club or Nagpur Club or Gujarat Club. But I will tell you one thing. This is heavily loaded against Kerala and South India. Yes. Already, South has become a colony of the North India. Now, with the fiscal measures being adopted by Honorable Finance Minister, I never expected the Honorable Finance Minister, who is from Tamil Nadu, who has leanings in Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh, would be part of this game of discrimination. Sir, I will tell you, Madam, I will tell you, despite having 18% of the population, we almost contribute 35% to the GDP. What we get in back, sir. Sir, the 15th Finance Commission gave 41% as the actual devolution. But the effective devolution to the states is hardly 30%. You know why, ma'am? Surcharge and other duties. Cess and surcharges. 1920, the total cess and surcharge was 2.5 lakh crore. It went up to 7 lakh crore. Now it is hovering around 5 lakh crore. Madam, the revenue devolution to South in 23-24 was 15.7%. That is 1.62 lakh crore. To Uttar Pradesh alone, it is 1.83 lakh crore. That is 18%. Sir, the new dictum that is being practiced in this country, madam, it's perform and perish. The other day, Naddaji was saying that Kerala will not be given All India Institute of Medical Science because you have progressed. Yes. Whoever has progressed, you will not consider. Where is this policy threat in this country? It should be shameful for me to, speak about this, sir. Sir, madam, everywhere, one nation, one language, one tax. Now something happened in Mumbai, Priyankaji. Now it is one nation, one comedian also will come. That is going to happen in this country. Everything is one nation. So it's not cooperative federalism. It is coercive federalism or crony federalism that is happening. So scrap the real issue, I will tell you. I know Finance Minister will agree with me. Scrapping of the Planning Commission. And it was given to the Finance Ministry. That means discriminative and discretionary way in which the funds can be allocated to the states. Madam, 2011, as per 1971 census, we used to get 3.875%. Now it has plummeted to 1.925%. That means Kerala, the share of Kerala has gone half. Why? Because the matrix of the 2011 census was used. Because we controlled the population, Kerala was punished. Everywhere punishment. Now I will tell Tamil Nadu also, Vaikoji, I will go with you also. But your colleague, Nirmala Sitharamanji, is not supporting Tamil Nadu either. Yes. The point I will tell you, ma'am, centrally sponsored scheme, it's a sham. It's a sham, I will tell you. You want to usurp into concurrent subjects and state list through this centrally sponsored scheme. Yes. I can tell you, 2014-15, it was 1.95 lakh crore. That was centrally sponsored schemes allocation. Now it is almost 5 lakh crore. And for that, we'll have to put in 40%, 50%. And we'll have to brand their schemes as though it is their own. That's the tamasha. I can tell you one example. That is, they wanted, Kerala need not take lessons in primary health center. Dainik, you will admit that. We have shown the world how the health has to be taken up. Now, you know what? They want to rename all the primary health centers as Ayushman Arogya Mandir. What is this Ayushman Arogya Mandir business? We painted it. We renamed it. Spent 16 crore for that. Now, almost 637 crore rupee. It's pending. It's not being dispersed to Kerala. All the centrally sponsored schemes. Now, Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan. Just because we didn't implement PM Shri, 849 crore is pending. You won't give us. Opposition-led governments are being distorted. I would say there is a clever ploy to disrupt the administration of the opposition-led state governments. Madam, somebody was talking about the tariff war. I think we have seen what is going to happen. There is a proposal to abolish the equalization levy on online advertisements to help the US-based tech companies Already they are kneeling. Already they are caving into to help Google and other companies. So what is to expect from this government? We are afraid of it. Can they withstand the pressure of Trump? I don't think so. Because even in this finance bill, they have actually done something to help them, from motor vehicles to, I would say, alcohol to everything. And this online equalization levy also. Now, Madam, 71 projects were under VGF, viability gap funding. In that, only Vizhinjam, they decided that whatever they pitched in, we'll have to give back. That too with the profit share. Is this cooperative federalism, madam? Can it be called a cooperative federalism? Not even competitive federalism. This is the way this country is being run. I have serious objections, and I would say that now there are so many arrears with regard to the Kerala government and other southern states. I won't talk about Hindi imposition because my friend has already spoken about it. But I can tell you one thing. If they want this country to flourish, they should give flexibility. They should uphold the principles of federalism. They should make sure that all state governments function and all their needs to be met, which are legitimate by the central government. Thank you very much, ma'am.
माननीय सदस्य प्रफुल्ल पटेल जी.
Madam Vice Chairman, thank you. I compliment the Honorable Finance Minister. 8 years she's steered the Indian economy in the right direction, and there have been so many challenges. There have been wars in the world, there have been COVID pandemic, there have been so many other global uncertainties, geopolitics, and in spite of all that, India's economy is one of the fastest growing and amongst the large economies of the world, and from the 5th largest to the 3rd largest is only a short distance away. I have been in government, and while we have done many things in the past, we must also reflect that the slogan earlier used to be Garibi Hatao, Roti Kapda Makan. The slogan, while we do look after our poor and the underprivileged, we also talk of an aspirational India, a Viksit Bharat by 2047. And I think that should be the theme on which we can meet the aspirations of our large number of people, and especially since we are one of the youngest population-wise in terms of demographics, the youngest nation in the world. And many many economies, many big countries are facing aging populations, and they have something to worry. India, because of its demographics, though we've had a difficult past, will certainly have a very bright future. So, ma'am, just as a layman, I would just say, if any one of us were to build a small house, is it easy to get a beldar, a mason? Is it easy to get a plumber, electrician? Why? The reason is, and you pay quite a lot. I'm not talking of Delhi and Mumbai, even in small places, small villages. The reason is there are not that many people available because of the shortage, and people are charging very high rates for these specialized jobs. So I would say that skill development has paid off. People should understand that unemployment and getting a job in a factory versus self-employment is also a very big area where this government has succeeded in skilling millions and millions of young people, both boys and girls, and to be able to stand on their own feet. I think that itself, there was a time when there was a big joke going on कि पकोड़ा बेच के भी कोई अपना जीवन गुजार सकता है. वो एक मुहावरे को लोगों ने अलग अर्थ निकाला. But if you actually see today, you will not find people, even आपको अगर घास काटने के लिए गांव में भी अगर कोई मजदूरी के लिए कोई महिला को या बुलाने की कोशिश करोगे तो 500, 600, 700, 800 रुपया गांव में भी उसके बिना नहीं मिलते हैं. अरे आप छोड़ दीजिए दिग्विजय भाई, मैं भी छोटे गांव से आता हूं, इसलिए ये मत बोलिए. मैं ये इसलिए why I'm raising this issue is that when we talk of a Viksit Bharat, a developed Bharat, we also have to see, and especially unemployment is a big theme which continues in all our discourses. Unemployment, yes, people look at, yes, want a factory job or want a blue or a white collar job, and that's why they are not able to all get a job at their call. That's a different thing. But now skilling has paid off. Look at in Gulf. When you go to entire Gulf, South India, my friend Britas just went away. He should be proud. His state has got the maximum number of people, educated, unskilled, skilled, both working in the Gulf. The entire economies of Kuwait, Bahrain, UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar, and so on, are all dependent on the people who are going from Kerala and also from other parts, including your state, ma'am, Tamil Nadu. They are going there and finding a job, and they're sending more than 100. Yes, so you should be proud, JB. You are unable to provide between you and the LDF, UDF. You are not able to provide jobs, and you are talking. Just relax. Just relax. Be patient and be willing to listen. Be willing to listen. I am not criticizing you. I was only saying. No, my time is much more. So Jairam, we have discussed now. You will not say anything. Anyway, my point is that when the economy is progressing, these are all visible changes and signs which you will see. Today you go to a village. I'm bringing it down to the lowest common denominator. आप किसी भी गांव में इस देश में चले जाइए, आज से 25 साल पहले उस गांव में कितनी गाड़ी थी, कितनी मोटरसाइकिल थी और कितने पक्के घर थे. आज कोई भी गांव अगर हमारे देश में, अगर कोई भी राज्य में, सूबा, कोई भी, इवन हम जो पिछड़ा हुआ सूबा कहने की कोशिश करते हैं, मैं किसी सूबे को पिछड़ा हुआ नहीं मानता हूं, वहां पर भी आपको लोगों के पक्के घर, प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना और अन्य माध्यमों से आपको दिख रहे हैं. आपको एक गांव में 100 गाड़ी, 50 गाड़ी, 500 गाड़ी, आपको हर घर में एक 2 व्हीलर कम से कम, एक से ज्यादा भी होगी. ये सारी चीजें आज आपको दिख रही है कि नहीं दिख रही है? किसी के घर में आपको टेलीविजन, फ्रिज और ये सब चीजें, एयर कंडीशनर लग्जरी थी, आज कई लोगों के घर में आपको दिखती है. मेरा यही कहने का मतलब है कि कहीं ना कहीं जो प्रगति के चिन्ह है, ये आपको अपने गांव की जमीन से आपको नजर आते हैं. और इसीलिए आज जो सरकार के ओर से whatever the various schemes which are being reaching the people are showing excellent results. आज इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के मामले में इतना सारा मतलब जोरों से काम हो रहा है. नेशनल हाईवेज, एक्सप्रेसवेज, both by state governments and by especially the National Highway Authority. आज जिस तरह से पोर्ट्स बन रहे हैं हमारे महाराष्ट्र में, आज सुबह एक क्वेश्चन में हम हमारे डेवलपमेंट की बात कर रहे थे, पोर्ट्स के बारे में, और हमारे पावर प्रोजेक्ट्स, न्यूक्लियर प्रोजेक्ट्स और ये सब चीजों को, ऑयल रिफाइनरीज हमारे ही स्टेट से ना आने देने की साजिश होती है. और जब वो प्रोजेक्ट्स दूसरे राज्यों में जाते हैं तो ये बताया जाता है कि नहीं, ये प्रोजेक्ट्स यहाँ से भगाकर दूसरे राज्यों को दिए जा रहे हैं. हमारे सरकारों को बदनाम करने की कोशिश की जाती है. ये राजनीति नहीं तो और क्या है. विकास के नाम पर आज जिस तरह से इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का डेवलपमेंट हो रहा है, रेलवे में एक समय ऐसा था कि हम लोगों को ट्रेन पे बैठने का और टॉयलेट्स, बाकी सफाई, रेलवे स्टेशन, आज आप देखिए अमृत भारत स्टेशन देखिए, आप रेलवे की देखिए, वंदे भारत ट्रेन देखिए, आपको ये सारी चीजों का आप परिणाम आज नजर आता है और उसका हमारे विकास में हमको नजर आता है. आज हमारी फूड सिक्योरिटी, अब कोई लोग बोलते हैं कि ये लोगों को अनाज क्यों दिया जा रहा है. अरे भाई, अनाज सड़ रहा था, अनाज चूहे खा जाते थे, अनाज का पिल्फरेज होता था, उससे हमारे किसी भी जरूरतमंद के पेट में अगर जाता है तो आपको क्या तकलीफ होती है. और इसीलिए आज शासन ने इतनी अच्छी योजना और अगले 5 साल तक आपको गारंटी दी है. आज एनर्जी सिक्योरिटी, आज हमारी, आप देखिए कि जिस तरह से हमारा रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी का प्रोग्राम, विश्व में कोई भी ऐसा देश नहीं होगा कि जहां पर सोलर, विंड, हमारा हाइड्रो पावर और खास करके अभी न्यूक्लियर पावर, ये सारे पर इतना ज्यादा फोकस देकर पर्यावरण को बचाने का काम ये हमारे देश में जिस तरह से तेजी से हो रहा है, ये बहुत सराहनीय है. और उसके लिए भरपूर मात्रा में हमारी अर्थव्यवस्था इसको ताकत और साथ देने के लिए तैयार है, तत्पर है. ये बहुत बड़ी बात है. मैं आपको अभी थोड़ा बहुत फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर महोदया, अभी टैरिफ्स की बहुत बात होती है। यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स में नई सरकार आने के बाद हम लोगों पर उसका क्या परिणाम होगा, निश्चित आई एम वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट दैट आवर गवर्नमेंट विल बी एबल टू negotiate very effectively and also take effective measures to protect the interest of the Indian industry as well as the exports which take place from India. But let me also tell you that today India, in spite of all the fears that people are saying, it won't be founded. The reason is India is a net exporter to the US. We have a trade surplus with the US, unlike some other countries where we have a trade deficit. And therefore, there are 4 or 5 focus areas which counter duties will not be any kind of detriment to India. We export mostly pharma, we export textiles, we export IT, we export agri commodities. All these, if you look at it in totality, are not going to be in the reverse, especially in terms of tariff, going to hurt India. Even automobiles. There would hardly be an automobile which will be imported from the United States to India. Our automobile industry is very cost effective, it's robust, it is completely, I would say, manufactured and self-dependent in India. I don't see that kind of tariff really going to hurt the Indian economy. And our Chairman, sir, thank you for joining while I'm speaking. It's an honor that our Chairman is here. And when we talk of trade wars and we talk of the global economy, sir, India is well placed. No matter what people say, our only one area of concern and for which the government has been effectively taking steps has been only on the oil security, where we have to import in large quantities because of the high consumption, which we now, thanks to because of the robust economy, we also need more oil. But I think the government, in spite of the geopolitics, has been able to source oil at a cheaper rate from many a source which are not available to many other countries. And I think the government needs to be complimented for that. And therefore, without going further, sir, I have taken a lot of time, but I will definitely say that there is a need for looking at strengthening our rural infrastructure, because at the end of the day, the farm infrastructure, the rural village infrastructure is still the backbone of the economy. People are moving to bigger cities only because they need further avenues for making money. And also, therefore, the counter pressure that our cities are getting more and more congested. Cities are unable to handle the immediate influx of a large number of migration from the rural to the urban areas. I think the government's focus, and therefore the state governments also come into the picture. Everything can't be all the problems of Delhi or all the problems of Mumbai or any other city, Chennai or Bangalore, cannot just lie on the doorsteps of the central government. I think the states also will be needed to participate in that journey. And therefore, I must compliment once again the Finance Minister for steering India in a very efficient and a robust manner. And as we all are very happy and proud that we are the 5th largest economy, we will soon be the 3rd largest economy and no more be called a developing nation. We shall become a developed nation by 2047. Thank you, sir.
Shri Rajiv Shukla.
धन्यवाद चेयरमैन सर। पहले तो वित्त मंत्री जी को बधाई कि मेरे ख्याल से 8वीं बार आपने बजट पेश किया, तो सारे रिकॉर्ड तोड़ दिए उन्होंने, तो इनकी निरंतरता कायम है। मैं इस भाषण को आंकड़ों की बाजीगरी में नहीं फंसाना चाहता।
राजीव जी, सब कुछ मेरे माध्यम से।
हाँ, अच्छा, बधाई भी आपके माध्यम से।
बधाई भी मेरे माध्यम से। एंड यू कैन बी फुली एश्योर्ड कि मेरे यहाँ पर किसी प्रकार का टैक्स डिडक्शन नहीं होगा। आई विल पास ऑन एज इट इज।
तो मैं भाषण को एक आम आदमी के भाषण के रूप में रखूंगा, आंकड़ों की बाजीगरी में मैं नहीं जाता, क्योंकि मैं योजना मंत्री रहा हूं। मैंने देखा आंकड़े जो आते हैं नीचे वो नजर नहीं आते सर। नीचे कुछ और माहौल रहता है ऊपर आंकड़ों में सब कुछ अच्छा दिखता है, लेकिन आंकड़ों में जो दिया जाता है वो नीचे नहीं दिखा जाता। आज अगर मैं पूछूं आपसे कि नीचे जाके अगर आप कोई सर्वे करो कौन खुश है, आप देखिए किसान खुश है कि मजदूर खुश है कि छात्र खुश है कि युवा खुश है कि महिलाएं खुश है कि छोटे व्यापारी खुश हैं कि उद्योगपति खुश हैं कि आप ये देखिए कि मैं तो यहाँ कहूँगा क्या पत्रकार खुश हैं, MSME जो उद्योग लगाते हैं वो क्या खुश हैं, कोई गरीब चाहे सरकारी कर्मचारी चाहे शिक्षक, यहाँ तक कि जो सांसद भी बैठे नेता वो भी अंदर से कोई बहुत खुश नहीं है, अंदर से बाहर तो अंदर से उनकी भी अंदर दर्द फूटता। तो ये कुछ होना चाहिए, मैं इसमें कोई आलोचना नहीं है कि ऐसे कुछ सरकार की नीतियां होनी चाहिए, ऐसे स्कीम होनी चाहिए। कितने 124 जो है स्कीम्स थी योजना आयोग में, और जिसमें 74 जो है वो 30 के करीब फ्लैगशिप स्कीम थी और 74 स्कीम्स को जो है उसको घटा के 74 पे लाना था। वो उन फ्लैगशिप स्कीम्स में इतना पैसा जाता है लेकिन नीचे दरअसल वो भी नहीं पहुंचता, कितनी भी कोशिश की नीचे नहीं पहुंचता, इसलिए वो खुशहाली नहीं आती है। तो इसलिए ये बड़ी जिम्मेदारी सरकार की बन जाती है कि कैसे जो है उन स्कीम्स का एक एक पैसा सही व्यक्ति के पास और सही जगह पहुंचे जिससे उसका फायदा मिले। अब युवा क्यों दुखी है? बेरोजगारी, 45% बेरोजगारी बढ़ी हुई है, गांव में लोग बैठे हुए हैं। कोरोना के बाद बहुत लोग गांव चले गए थे, तमाम शहरों से नौकरियां छोड़ छोड़ के, क्योंकि एक भय था, वो कोई लौट के नहीं आए, मुश्किल से 10% लोग लौट के आए होंगे। वहां भाई भाई लड़ रहे हैं, 2 बीघा जमीन है उसमें दोनों भाइयों में झगड़ा हो रहा, उनको कैसे वापस लाया जाए ताकि जो मजदूरों की कमी हो गई है उद्योग में सब जगह, हर जगह, चाहे वो कृषि उद्योग हो, चाहे वो सूरत का हीरा उद्योग हो, चाहे टेक्सटाइल उद्योग, चाहे मुंबई हो, चाहे बेंगलोर का हो, वो जो है सब गांव में बैठे आपस में, बेचारों के बीच में लड़ाई हो रही है, खाने पीने का जो संकट है जो पहुंच जाता है उससे खाना होता है, उनको कैसे प्रेरित करके उस युवा शक्ति को, क्योंकि हमारा यही तो क्लेम था कि 60 करोड़ युवा शक्ति भारत के पास है और वो दुनिया में किसी के पास नहीं, सबकी पॉपुलेशन बूढ़ी है। अगर उस युवा शक्ति का हम इस्तेमाल नहीं कर पा रहे, अगर वो युवा शक्ति जो है बैठी हुई है घर में, तो फिर ये बहुत बड़ी जिम्मेदारी हम सबकी बन जाती है कि उनको कैसे वापस काम पे लगाया जाए। तो एक वो बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है जो हमें देखना पड़ेगा कि जो लोग वहां पे गए उसके लिए व्यापार बढ़ाना पड़ेगा। जो 30% MSME जो छोटे छोटे उद्योग बंद हो गए उनको कैसे रिवाइव किया जाए, उनको महंगी बिजली दर की वजह से, महंगी मजदूरी की वजह से और बैंकों से भी सहायता नहीं मिलती, तो उनको कैसे पुनर्जीवित किया जाए ताकि लोगों को रोजगार मिल सके और रोज लोग वहां पे जाएं। अब आपने देखा होगा कि इसमें एक बहुत बड़ा निर्मला जी जो ये GST का है, हम ठीक है आप प्रयास कर रहे हैं, सारे जितने वित्त मंत्री हैं सबके काउंसिल है सब कोशिश करते हैं और कैसे, लेकिन